A U.S. federal court judge handed down long prison terms for 4 Blackwater guards today for their roles in the 2007 massacre of Iraqi civilians. RT's Manila Chan is at the D.C. District Courthouse where the sentences were announced, and she brings us the very latest.
Today, the long-awaited day of reckoning for 4 Blackwater guards found guilty on charges related to that bloody 2007 massacre at Nisour Square in Iraq finally learned their fate. Dustin Hurd, Paul Slough, Evan Liberty all received 30-year minimum sentences, while Nick Slatton received a life sentence for a first-degree murder charge for their roles in the death of 17 unarmed Iraqi civilians. Take a listen to what the attorneys had to say after the hearing.
But what he did beyond that is he said it was enough. He said that 30 years for these events that took place in a war zone were enough, despite the fact that this government, the same government that sent our clients out into harm's way, asked the court to put them away for effective life sentences.
The men returned to this district courthouse here in Washington, D.C. this morning at 10 a.m. to once again face Judge Royce Lamberth. Now, the Department of Justice sought the minimum mandatory sentencing already on the books regarding charges related to the use of machine guns in a violent crime. Attorneys for the men argued that this mandatory sentencing was unconstitutional and was cruel and unusual punishment, since this law was written during a time in the U.S. when crack cocaine and gang violence was more prevalent, citing that this law was actually meant to deter gang members from carrying automatic weapons. Now, he continued by saying that the Blackwater guards were in a war zone and did not have a choice but to carry those State Department-issued machine guns. They also argued that the men were deployed as State Department contractors for a diplomatic mission, not a military one. So those laws do not apply here. Now, meanwhile, the DOJ says this verdict and the sentencing is a resounding affirmation of America's commitment to the law, even during times of war. Now, during the deliberation last fall, 71 witnesses testified, including 30 Iraqis. Among them was Mohammed Abdul Razak, whose 9-year-old son was among the dead there at Nisour Square that afternoon. Now, Judge Lamberth did not deviate from that lengthy mandatory minimum sentencing, nor did he pass a motion by prosecutors to increase any of those penalties. In Washington, Manila Chan, RT.